In 2024, a 46-year-old Thai woman named Lek woke up to find her life erased. A Facebook post went viral overnight, accumulating 3 million views. The social architecture of her entire life, built over decades, collapsed in the span of a single news cycle. The post publicly accused her of practicing black magic. Specifically, it claimed she harbored a parasitic spirit inside her body, an entity that fed on the internal organs of her neighbors while they slept. Her village believed the accusation immediately. Children were forbidden from playing with her children. Neighbors crossed the street rather than pass her door. The accusation was completely fabricated. A local official had weaponized the village's deepest fear simply to win a mundane land dispute. To a Western audience, an accusation of an organ-eating ghost sounds absurd. Yet 3 million modern internet users watched this story unfold and accepted the premise as entirely plausible. In rural Thailand, the Phi Pop functions as a legitimate clinical diagnosis, a condition requiring formal identification and immediate community action. Western ghost concepts categorize spirits as external entities, a floating apparition, a haunted location, something out there. The Phi Pop is an internal parasite. It lives inside a living human abdomen. A Phi Pop begins with a sorcerer. When a practitioner of black magic violates a sacred taboo, their accumulated occult power doesn't dissipate. It backfires. It collapses inward, mutating the practitioner's soul into a ravenous entity, condemned to survive by consuming human organs. The physical symptoms mimic a severe gastroenterological emergency: sudden stomach pain, rapid weight loss, extreme fatigue, and an insatiable craving for raw viscera. The possession culminates in a state Thai tradition calls ok pak. The spirit suddenly seizes control of the host's vocal cords to announce its own name and state its demands, using the host's mouth. Afterward, the victim retains no memory of the event. The entity is highly contagious. It transmits to unknowing victims through saliva. Sharing a simple meal or drinking from a shared cup allows the spirit to easily jump to a new host. This diagram illustrates the Pop Chua variant, a hereditary version of the spirit. The red path shows how the infection branches downward, passing silently through family bloodlines across generations, without the carrier ever knowing what lives inside them. Because the Phi Pop looks exactly like a neighbor, a friend, or a family member, it removes all visual markers of safety, turning the village into a zone of quiet paranoia. When a community suspects an infection, they summon a morphe, or spirit doctor. The exorcist performs a physical examination, pressing their hands deep into the victim's abdomen to feel the living entity shifting beneath the skin. If the spirit resists, methods escalate into physical violence. The possessed is flogged with a thorny rattan cane and forced to inhale roasted chili smoke, while the exorcist deploys holy water to force the entity out. The most extreme tactics are purely psychological. Exorcists will perform grave binding or stage a highly public mock funeral, forcing the victim into a coffin to trick the entity into believing its vessel has died, so it abandons the body. If the exorcism fails, the accused faces permanent exile. Some flee to sanctuary villages, but remaining there requires mandatory public confessions and humiliating submission rituals. These rituals function as high-stakes public trials. The goal is to force the accused into absolute submission, back to the collective will of the community. This data map represents what anthropologists found when they studied Phi Pop cases across rural Thailand. The instances of accusation do not map to spiritual hotspots. They strictly follow the village's map of social friction, clustering around people perceived as wealthy, non-conforming, or simply outsiders. Anthropologists define this dynamic as a weapon of the weak. It is a calculated mechanism to destroy socially disruptive individuals or enforce community norms, requiring no evidence and completely bypassing the need for formal legal recourse. Lek's 2024 story resolves exactly along these lines. She filed a defamation lawsuit, and the ensuing legal negotiation ended the supposedly supernatural dispute. With the lawsuit dropped, the village officially retracted the accusation. Buddhist monks performed a cleansing rain ritual to formally close the matter, restoring peace. The official who orchestrated the viral post understood the mechanics of the village perfectly. You do not need proof of a ghost when the mere accusation is enough to activate a community's ingrained social defense mechanisms. In 2005, director Paul Spurrier evolved the myth in his film P, taking the Phi Pop out of the rural village entirely and relocating it to Bangkok's booming sex industry. The film reframes the horror. Modern capitalism and the city of Bangkok itself act as the true Phi Pop, consuming vulnerable rural migrants from the inside out while they sleep in unfamiliar places. While the folklore ghost feeds on internal organs, the modern viral accusation feeds on human belonging. In a society built entirely on community structures, stripping a person of their place in that community through a baseless accusation leaves them with nothing. It is a social death sentence.